This is a reading for Taylor. Um, and it's probably gonna be a bit long. So she says, I'm at a crossroads in life. I've been with my boyfriend for over 3 years, and I don't know if we're in alignment anymore. We live together. It's the kind of comfort that holds you back, not satisfied in more than one ways in one. He's a good person, but maybe not my person. He also holds me back socially, jealous and insecure. I've considered just not living with him, but still dating him. What do my guides have to say about this connection and its longevity? I live in the Midwest and I don't want to renew my current lease. I've been I've considered just getting my own place in the same area. There's an energy around me where locals are just too up in my grill, more surveillance than real support. Studio group drama still lingers. I was a catalyst in things falling apart, as I tend to be. Lots of gossip about me for different reasons. I trigger lots of people. I'm insane but beautiful and powerful. Controversial but significant. Feel like I'm too big for the local scene. Don't know if I can build here, if I can find my people or family here. There are a few cool people here that I could grow with if I prioritize them. Very isolated and sad. Got some mistakes hanging around over my head over the years, internalized shame. That may be more in my head. What do my guides think about where I live and who is energetically surrounding me? Is it worth staying here? Can I be nourished here? Also, maybe things could get easier socially when I separate from my boyfriend. He's just another monitoring spirit, to be honest. I've considered moving to California to go balls into my music career. Birth chart map says that my Jupiter line runs there, through the West Coast, that I'd have bigger opportunities there. My brother lives there, so I wouldn't be alone. But worry about money and getting my license. That will sort itself out through faith. What do my guides think about me moving to California? Maybe stay in home state for another year and then move? Maybe that's pussy, and I should just go for it. This isn't a new idea. Considered moving to Cali back in 2020. Feeling disconnected locally, socially has reawakened the option. Am I just running away and splitting on an entire state? BPD. The studio group experience genuinely hurt me and my sense of belonging. I need to change my life drastically and have never felt so confused. Lots of outside forces watching me. People around are obsessed, and I have trouble interpreting that positively. Writing my energetic dick constantly. Wanna leave. Being too big for your environment is on some Truman Show shit. Super relatable requests here. Because I've been feeling really similarly, which is part of the reason why like even my passion for my work has kind of like decreased recently. Like over the past year, I have just not been the same businesswoman that I know myself to be. Like I used to be a real like hustler, this guy, like a real grinder. Um, I was kind of like always chasing a bag, and now I'm not so motivated. And I feel like there's a lot of different reasons why that actually is. One of the reasons why I think that is because my ability to work for myself and the kind of role that I was playing in my actual career as like a leader, as like a trusted person was like a source of a lot of jealousy from people in the world around me because I was free in ways that other people around me were not free. And I feel like when people like were in their heads trying to figure out why me and not them, a lot of the difference that existed between me and these other people was the extent to my connection with Source, which I actually Take the Lead just came out. The Moon's Wisdom. Thanks, Guy. Um, I actually put a lot of work into being like a godly person. And I have been doing that since I was like a really small child. So I don't know if it's necessary to like tell you guys my entire religious background. Maybe I will just for the sake of doing so. So I started going to church with my grandparents when I was younger. My mom, she was raised Catholic and Pentecostal, but she was not like I don't know that there was ever any point in my life my mom was like super religious. Like she definitely will rely on her religious foundation for support in times of need, but she's not like habitually religious. She's more of a spiritual person. But my grandparents were religious, so um I was living with them after my parents got divorced, and my grandmother used to go to church and be super involved socially in the church. So I would just go with her, and I actually joined the church that she joined when I was 7. So she was probably mm, like 62, 63 maybe, something around there. Um, so I joined that church with her, and I was really heavily involved. I was in the choir. I like gave announcements sometimes. Whenever my grandmother would host church events at our house, I was like someone who like would lead prayers, and I was like kind of raised and brought up to be kind of like a host, like to have like God within me, and then also be of service to the higher power that I'm most reverent of. And then I actually got baptized with my cousin, who's like a brother to me. He's a Marine now. Um, I got baptized with him at the same time when I was 14 and he was like 16. And I think that was like in October. That was like in October. Um, by the same priest and everything. And who I actually just found out when I was visiting my grandmother recently that he's in hospice. I don't know why, like, I'm mentioning all these things, but there could be like this energy, because hospice is like the transition, like when you're about to die. And I think the reason why that's important is not because like you're about to die or necessarily like anybody in your life who's important to you is about to die. But when I think about the person who like baptized me being about to die, I think about like a transition in my connection to my faith based in like the supervisors that were present. Like, and I've been feeling this like majorly because like part of my struggle with connecting with my purpose or like my feeling of being in alignment is the fact that I was connecting with a certain like kind or like brand or like genre of higher power, like higher spirits, like angels, ancestors, or spirit guides. But I think I'm actually like transitioning even within my own spiritual team to have different team members. And I was literally on TikTok like yesterday, and I kept getting like these hockey edits because I my dad used to take me to hockey games, and um like I keep seeing this hockey player who's like spaced out. Like I reposted this, so maybe you want to like go look and see this, but Quinn Hughes, like he's always like looking super spaced out ever since he transferred from his team to a new team. So like I think that's like I think that what I'm picking up on here is it's accurate. Like some of this confusion or like internal fog, and like where I live right now, it's literally been cloudy for days, and it's been like the most depressing thing ever because like I don't know. I feel like I need the sun to feel good sometimes. I was born in California, actually, in San Bernardino. So I think maybe I'm connected to like heat and needing to feel the heat, and like during the winter or like during seasons or just weather like rain, when I can't have access to the sun, like it genuinely starts to affect like what's going on within me, like chemically, I feel like. Um, but it's really been like foggy, it's been cloudy, like things have not been clear, it's been wet, it's been cold. And I feel like a lot of this has to do with kind of us preparing for who we're about to be in the future. Because I don't like imagine that how I'm feeling right now is going to be like a lasting experience. Like I know based on like past seasons and cycles of my life that whenever I'm going through tougher, like thicker moments and energetically, there is some kind of like relief on the other end of that, and that I do usually have access to exactly what I need to find that relief when I'm like being resourceful, when I'm being submissive, when I'm being obedient to the guidance that I'm receiving. So I'm not worried about whether or not, can you call me soldier? Dude, I would love if you did. Um I'm not like worried about whether or not I'm gonna be able to figure this out. It's more like in the time of not having the answers, there's just like the feeling of anxiety or like dread. So I think that like that prelude was just about like, kind of like aligning myself with you and your energy, and now I'm gonna kind of get into the card pulling so we can kind of see what the energy wants to say to us. And like now my nose is just like bad. I thought I was gonna sneeze, but then I didn't. The bottom of the deck right now is Moonlight Serenade. Change your tune. It's kind of green, which kind of relates to the heart chakra. And you see how the sun is like on the sides of the card? Like it's there, but it's not full. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I'm sorry. Yeah. And that makes me feel like, people like looking in from the outside could be a thing that you're having um spiritual or physical reactions to. So pay attention to that. I have a dog that I walk and usually he's like my shield. He's like a shield for me when it comes to negative energy that's sent from like enemies, specifically ancestral enemies of mine. Well, he's German dog and I descend from like Jewish ancestry. So usually whenever stuff kind of happens to me, there's like um a natural reciprocal kind of effect, but it doesn't usually hit me. Like I'm pretty protected and guarded from people being able to affect me, except for when they get inside. Like, like how do I say this? I'm trying to explain what's kind of been going on with me. Like, there's no one in my house or like in my space who's like physically stopping me from being effective in my work, right? But I do feel like there are people who are kind of impressioning me from like the outside who don't want to see me continue to grow or be successful. And so how that kind of like manifests for me, because like most of my enemies are like far enough away from me that they can't touch me or they don't see me and like we don't talk to each other. So I feel like the goal is kind of to like for me for myself to choose to not want to like pursue the things that would be the most fulfilling to me. Like I think the inspiration of doubt, um, the inspiration of like a fear of loss, which I would say like kind of like is related to anxiety. Um, those are things like that's kind of like, the devil manifested like internally, like how the devil might manifest internally. Um, like confusion, like the whole like cloudy, foggy, like I don't know what to do or what to say thing. And I feel like for me specifically, like part of how this has been manifesting is like people want my relationships to fail. Like people like see me as having relationships that provide me a lot of support and security and comfort, and they also want to see those situations fail. Um, and like you mentioned, like having your boyfriend for over 3 years and you're not sure like if you want to be there anymore. Um, Self-regulation, Exalted Moon just came out. I would say like beware of like I would honestly ask yourself, and I don't know like how you're gonna feel about that, but like I would say honestly ask yourself whether or not this could be an energy of self-sabotage, if this is somebody who is actually beneficial for you and you're just kind of on this like in this plateau energy. Because I do feel like there is value to some of the forces in your life that you've kind of been building up until now that you might just kind of be bored or complacent with, which is interesting because like when I think of that energy, like it kind of mirrors my relationship to my work, to me, where like thank you guys for the live chat comments. Um, I'm like, well, I don't know if reading tarot is actually that fulfilling to me anymore. I don't know if I actually like even like what I do right now. Like, I don't know that I even really enjoy this as much as I used to. Like it was really great and like validating for me at one point when I was, you know, like 'cause this is like a business for me. Like this is something that I know that I'm good at that I can do. And it's like it almost requires like I don't want to say like no effort, but this is something that I'm in my comfort zone. I'm naturally oriented towards being able to function well and produce quality whenever I'm in this like mode of functionality. And I feel that's probably how you're feeling in your relationship where you're like, okay, well, like this is a relationship that I know is mine. I'm secure in it for the most part. Like this is somebody who I understand and I know well. I know they probably have some level of love for me. I know that I have some level of love for them. We have routine. We have like I mentioned again, like stability, security. Um, Things are predictable, and now I'm wondering like kind of like what else there might be for me. And like I think honestly that curiosity only really stems probably from the fact that you have something that you're already standing on. Because I think that you probably could remember if you were trying and you were like honestly reflecting a time in which you wanted the exact thing that you have right now. Like I remember when I first started my business, I was like, I can't wait to get to a point where like I can be self-sufficient based on it and I can like, it's my creative endeavor and like this is something that will, bring me happiness and success and like self-fulfillment. And I feel like there might have been a phase in which you felt that same way towards this relationship. Um, so I would say like, just I'm not saying whether you should do or not, but just based in the energy so far, I would say beware of like taking things that are in your life right now for granted. And being kind of like bullied off of your platform or like bullied off of your blessings or like convinced externally slash internally that the things that you have you don't want anymore. Because I think there is like you're probably experiencing a lot of jealousy for these exact same things, like um because like one of those cards that came out was a bull, like the self regulation was a bull. So like you're kind of I think being encouraged to like kind of hunker down, maybe be like a little bit more bullheaded about doing things that you want to do. And like one of the things that you mentioned like in that relationship was the fact that like your partner is a little bit jealous, sometimes insecure. And it doesn't mean that like you can't like apply that same bullheadedness to like your partner and the way that you deal with them. Like you don't have to maybe like break up with them entirely, but there may be some arguments that you need to have where they don't want you to go out and you're like, well, I am gonna go out. And then you both have to kind of like see what results from you being confident and assured in the direction that you want to take in your life. Because I don't know like for sure that this person is someone who's meant to be in your life forever, but I'm just like kind of carrying on the idea that there are people and like forces in your life that want to see you kind of lose things that are like good and stable and secure and previously fought for in your life. I think it's worth like fighting. And I was actually doing some Bible study last night, and I can't remember like where I was at in it was Timothy. I was in Timothy. And Paul was speaking to Timothy in the letter, and he was like, "Fight the good fight." I don't know if you are acquainted with the Bible. I'm just now kind of becoming more acquainted with the Bible. Um, and like as soon as I say that, like everybody leaves. I don't know. It's weird because I'm developing in this way that I feel like is valuable for me. But then like when I talk about it, I feel like people don't really respect it because people are used to like me talking about things through like this um spiritual and less referential perspective and lens, and I feel like people are pretty wounded when it comes to like religion, like which makes sense. Like I'm not judging anybody for being wounded as it relates to religion, but um I've noticed that like one of the things I'm kind of feeling dreadful about my own like current following right now is how many of us are wounded about religion and what that means about me as I want to continue to like integrate new information to share with you guys. Like, are you guys even open to the things that I have to say that I've been learning, that I've been guided to learn? Like in the time in between me giving you guys what you want, are you gonna be like willing to take what you need from me? So like, I don't know. I want to apologize also for like the delay that it's been taking for me to produce these videos because there was a point in time in which I was able to like rapidly churn out content and information, and I feel like people really enjoyed the fact that I could just be like readily accessible to them. But I'm just not so much in an energy anymore of being able to share myself because of how sensitive I am occasionally to like feelings of rejection. And the reason why that I actually have to shield myself and have compassion for myself in that sensitivity is because if I were to like leave myself open to so much rejection, it might like once again contribute to some of this internal clouding that I've been already dealing with, even beyond being in people's face all the time. So, I'm just like asking for like a little bit of compassion as it relates to me trying to figure out who I currently am. Because I feel like you're probably in an energy that's like really similar. It just probably is manifesting a little bit differently. Because there was a version of yourself that worked, like you living in your Midwestern town in this apartment with your boyfriend, like that version of yourself works. Like that's fine. Like you could continue to like get on the same path. Like for me, like if I were to just stay in a spiritual lens and like never really integrate any like level of discipline or reference any kind of like spiritual and like religious texts, like that would work. But there's like a desire within myself to kind of branch into something that like I feel like is a hybrid of selves, where like I'm innovating a version of myself, like I'm bringing up right now, I'm raising a child version of myself that is studying the Bible and learning how to like derive meaning from like spiritual and religious texts. And then there's also the version of myself that just feels and like just knows and like doesn't really need instruction and doesn't really want to take instruction. And I'm trying to figure out how to like mix these two versions of myself together so that I can be who I need to be for you guys and for myself and for anybody else who kind of looks to me as a leader or as someone inspirational or just worthy of paying attention to. So I do feel like the stress of like not knowing how to present myself kind of makes me like less willing to present myself because I'm a person who like likes to operate out of a certain level of confidence. Like I like to feel confident that whatever I'm showing up with in life in any aspect or like area of it or arena of it, that like I know what I'm doing and I know why I'm behaving and like conducting myself and presenting myself in a certain way. I know why I'm doing that. So yeah, hopefully I can give you some clarity that will make you feel more confident as well in whatever choices you're about to make in this new year. Because I don't know if I mentioned this recently, but this is a year of 10, so I can kind of predict or like, interpret that this could be a year of endings. And I mentioned how like the man who baptized me is about to die. So yeah, what does Taylor need to know? And tailored, like a tailor is somebody who makes clothes that are specifically fitted for a person, like the perfect fit. So I wonder if you're like concerned with finding that perfect fit and if you're just starting to feel like this person isn't that, like this city isn't that. But then I'm wondering, like, is does the perfect fit ever really exist? And I don't know if that's a result of me being a little bit different from you, maybe in some ways, where I'm like, I am like a Taurus stellium, and Tauruses can kind of like make do. Um, Tauruses are known for having a lot of endurance and for being really committed. Like we're fixed signs. So there's been like some even cycles in my own relationship recently where like, and then my dog like gets up and leaves. And he's my divine masculine, significator in my life. He's my divine feminine, cat. So there've been some recent shifts in my own relationship. He's back. What's up? Fine love. I actually just had to cut one of his toenails because it was getting too long, and when I cut it, it actually bled, but I didn't cut it very short. I cut it to like a length that was proportionate to even his other nails, and it bled. I think because in that particular nail, um, the quick had just like it's like longer than usual, like almost like he was meant, like he was made to be that way. And when I cut it, like he didn't even really seem like he was in that much pain or anything. Like he was playing like right after. So like when it comes to like having a difficult conversation with someone who's important to you right now, you might have to be okay with hurting some people's feelings and know that they're strong enough to get their feelings hurt, and still like be around you. Kind of like they would still, they maybe even would benefit more from your honesty at this time than they would from you being avoidant or from you being passive aggressive or anything like that. Like my divine feminine aspect is this black cat, and she literally looks mean. She's really small, really cute, has like sometimes it's like I'm better than you kind of energy, but she really does like she really is loving. She just doesn't really look like she's loving. Um, so your feminine aspect might need to kind of make its desires known to people around you who might be offended or hurt a little bit by what it is that you have to say or what it is you actually want. Um, I actually this kind of reminds me of another thing that's been going on in my life recently, where I've been going to this predominantly white church because it's Catholic, and I've also like have like for some reason like when I started this new year, like on New Year's Eve, I was like, I want to be blonde, take a risk at the bottom of the deck, Moonflower. I was like, I want to be blonde this year. Like, I just want to start this year kind of like blonde because I feel like I'm kind of blonde. Like, not like actually blonde, obviously, but like, I feel like this is like a vibe that represents me, and like, I kind of want to explore that energy and like live in it a little bit. So I was doing that, and I actually went to church with blonde hair for like the first time. And like, people, I've been going to that church for like 8 months, so they know that I'm not blonde, like naturally. Like, they know that my hair is actually pretty short and it's pretty dark. Um, so I went there, and then when I went to my, because I joined the church just this last Sunday, or I started the process of joining the church this last Sunday because it's like a longer process, like it's like a 6 week class. Um, and like I was sitting like, because I got there a little bit late to the class because I got a coffee first, and there's only like one seat left in there, and it was right in front of this actual like natural blonde family. And then I was like, well, shit, like, am I an imposter? Like, I kind of felt like an imposter. And I kind of felt them being like, you're not really blonde. Like, I kind of like, I kind of feel them like having that energy about it. But like, I kind of like make me think of what you were saying before about like you living in this like Midwestern town, and then you kind of feeling like you're like one of the main characters there, and like you feel like you're too big for the place that you're at. But I feel like there's a value to you kind of existing as you are, like in this energy of contrast, or like in this energy of like offending people, right? Because like you're kind of like controversial but significant. Like you're somebody I think who's meant to like make people have internal processes as well. So like I think it's interesting actually that duality where like you probably are under the influence of a lot of spiritual warfare for that exact reason. Like there are people who are seeing you and they're like, okay, well you are like pretending to be something and it's bothering me, and because they might even think of like your confidence or like the way that you're like kind of presenting yourself, it's like they think that it's fake because they see you like maybe even exploring aspects within yourself that are more latent or are like people have a difficult time perceiving your authenticity as authenticity because they themselves are probably existing in a certain level of inauthenticity, um, or they are in disbelief that someone can be the way that you actually are, which once again like has more to do with them than it does with you. So the spiritual warfare thing and like the results of like all that pressure, it definitely makes sense why you would want to escape and flee it. But I wonder if there's like a deeper purpose to you actually being involved in these kinds of situations, and like the energy that's actually released for you in your life could be beneficial. Like, I'm thinking of like more of the biblical stuff because I literally went to school last night after studying the Bible, so it's still kind of like in my mind. But I'm thinking of Jonah and the whale, and like that was one of the first Bible studies stories that like really stuck with me as a kid because I watched I think it was VeggieTales, you know, it was Jonah and the whale that I was introduced to it, and Jonah was a prophet, and he was basically sent to go and like give this message to the people of I think Nineveh, and they didn't really want to hear what he had to say, and they were kind of like he was like, well, if I go in there and like tell these people like this message, they're gonna like hate me for it, and I just don't really want to like say it to them. I know it's a good message, I know it's what you want from me, but like the pressure of actually doing it is like feeling like it's overwhelming right now. So I'm just gonna like kind of get on this boat and I'm just gonna like sail away. I'm gonna like run away from my purpose, and then I think the boat like crashes or like it's like capsized, and then he gets swallowed by a whale. And then while he's in the stomach of the whale, he basically is like having meditations. And I think of the study of like the metaphor of like, oh, I got swallowed by a whale, right? Like you might think like, okay, well, like there's no whale that's gonna actually come and swallow me. But I think of a whale not as like just a creature, but also a metaphor for like going down into the depths and like the ocean. They live on the ocean. Oceans are large bodies of water, ruled by the moon, and they get really cold and really deep. And when you get to the like bottom like parts of the ocean, like where a whale might be for hours before it has to come back up for air, because that's like the sine and cosine kind of aspect of like these spiritual periods that we go through when we're like feeling like shit, to for lack of better words. Like feeling like shit could be like being swallowed by the whale. Like when you're in a deep depression, when you're having like an existential crisis, an identity crisis, like that's kind of you being swallowed by the whale because it's gonna like come up, get you, go back down into the depths. There's no sunlight that can reach you down there. You're just like kind of cold and you're in the dark, and then you come back up, and then you have some kind of like clarity or revelation. Like there's like a release of oxygen, like the little blowhole thing comes out, and you're back on top of the water again. So I feel like there could be something that's going on right now related to that. Like I don't know where exactly you are in that whole like sine cosine like pattern of like wave of emotions or like spiritual process, spiritual journey, but it feels like that's relevant to the situation, to this energy right now. And whatever kind of clarity you're discovering in this time of just not having answers, right? Because you could even be like, okay, well, like, Ceylon, like I booked this reading with you like 3 weeks ago. Like, why did it take you so long to like get this to me? But I feel like I think there was actually an intentionality in me not being around to help. Like, I think that there was a purpose why. Because I think some of us in the spiritual community can get really comfortable and used to like just reaching out and like finding like really easy solutions to our problems, or like always having access to clarity that comes from external. But when you're in the belly of the whale, like you are almost intentionally put into a place where you're lacking that clarity, where you're lacking that connection, and you're kind of just like feeling things out like with your hands. Like when you're in the belly of the whale, there's no light that you can turn on. There's no light switch or electricity in that belly of the whale. You're just meant to be kind of sitting there in the dark, either not knowing where the hell you are or trying to figure out where the hell you are by touch, like by actually using your hands, by like having experiences that make certain things more clear to you. Because I don't think that I could ever really like know your situation the way that you do as the person who's living it. Like if you're like in your day-to-day life, living with your boyfriend in the Midwest, and you're like, well, I really fucking hate this town. I hate my boyfriend. I don't want to be here anymore. Then like you already know the answer to some of these inquiries that you're probably asking me about, and you're wanting that reassurance and that clarity. But I think even more important right now for you to give that to yourself, because if you are the tailor of your life experience, then it's only you that really knows your measurements. So I think this is the time when you're kind of being intentionally put into a situation where you don't know and you're finding out for yourself. Um, Same thing with me right now when it comes to like my business with my like personal spiritual philosophy. Like I don't know exactly what I'm evolving into. I couldn't tell you like who I'm gonna be in the next 6 months, because right now it feels really like up in the air for me. Like it feels like anything could happen and things could happen and change like really fast. And like I was actually telling myself that earlier today, where I was hearing that from my guides. I'm not sure, either or both. Um, I was like, things could change really quickly. Like things are how they are right now, but things could change really quickly. And it was important for me to kind of like ground myself in that. that idea, that mentality that like some kind of opportunity or some kind of sign or some kind of like epiphany could come upon me, and that could change my whole like worldview, or that could change my trajectory in some kind of way. Like could send me down a different path. And although I don't have that thing right now, that thing could be on its way towards me. So yeah, I'm kind of channeling a lot of stuff right now. I haven't even pulled like a single card yet. So that's why I was talking before. I was like, I think this is gonna be kind of long. Um, so yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna like start the card pull because you started your request talking about your boyfriend. Um, then you talked about like moving away, like across the country, kind of. And I'm wondering, like, is he gonna like come with you, or are you ready to like leave him behind? New beginnings or new moon beginnings at the deck right now, and on the bottom of the deck right now. I'm sorry, I'm like talking like really weird because it's just like stuff is just like flowing out of me. And this is a red card, so I don't know if your period is like relevant in any kind of way. I just thought about that in my head because mine has been weird. Mine has been late 2 months in a row, 11 days, and I'm a life path number 11. Like it's an important number for me, 11 specifically. Um, Twin Towers, Tower card is like sudden destruction. So if you make a choice here, it's like you're not the only one who's affected by that, and that's kind of like something that's I think you maybe already know, but I'm picking up on that heavy. Like if you're like my boyfriend is so like possessive of me, and he's always kind of like tracking me and like monitoring me. I think it's because your boyfriend is understanding that what you do matters and will affect them in a major way. So maybe judge them a little bit less for that if you have been like judging them or having resentment for the fact that they're kind of like maybe hovering over you. I don't know that this is necessarily coming from a place of like wanting to like necessarily form as any kind of like obstacle as much as it is like them having invested in you in some kind of way, or like having some kind of like mutual like stake, or like they feel like they have a stake in like kind of what you do and how you're doing it right now. So I feel like it's important for them to feel like they're fully aware of what's going on with you, um, and your ongoings, like the things that are happening. But I mentioned like you mentioned moving to California. I literally just moved back from there, and I feel like wary of mentioning this just because I have a current relationship that is not my past relationship, but this reminds me of my past relationship, and I want to tell you about it because I want to be helpful for you, but I also don't want to inspire any doubts to my current boyfriend. So I'm just gonna like put that out there as like a forewarning. I'm speaking about my personal history for the sake of helping someone else. But I just moved out from away from California after being out there for like maybe 2 years. And um I left behind a relationship partner that I was kind of invested in, like to move back here. Um So that kind of reminded me of that a little bit because he definitely could not come with me. And when I was moving away, like I kind of like knew, like in that moment, that things were gonna change because I didn't really expect that he would. Well, he was kind of like already cheating on me, so I don't know, like I really just didn't have a lot of expectancy that he would be loyal or like anything like that. Especially with like an increased amount of distance, because if he was cheating on me when I was like right there, like he definitely was gonna cheat on me if I was far away. So, yeah, I think it might be important for you to know that in the event that you do move to prioritize your career, um, and your creative ideas, you might be like sacrificing a lot of what is current and secure about your personal life right now, and I wouldn't maybe encourage you to be super expectant of a lot of these things that you've built your life around to stay or like be maintained that transition. So that's major because before you make this decision, you need to be in an energy of detachment from these things. Like you need to be like completely ready to let them go. I actually was just telling my current boyfriend about a release ritual that I did like right before I met him. Because I had like been here since like February of last year, and I was still kind of mourning that relationship because like I was like in denial, and I was like, I don't know, things might change, like he might at some point um feel the internal desire to be someone different than who he was at the time. And I was like kind of holding on to that faith for like months. And then eventually got to a point where I was like, okay, well, like this is kind of like killing me. Like being attached to this situation is like kind of like really destroying me in a way and affecting my ability to operate myself with the faith that I feel like I need to have in order to live a happy and good life. Like I was just like a not happy person and I was super depressed and frustrated with the fact that I was like kind of saving myself or um like isolating myself um for the sake of him, like because I actually really take pride in being like the most loyal girlfriend on earth. Like I I take a lot of pride on it. Like I'm not somebody who's easy to reach or is accessible to people. And I like to be like mean to people who aren't my partner. And I like to make it like known that I'm belonging to someone. Like I like the feeling of belonging. Like that's like that's and it could be like the Taurus aspects and stuff like that, but like in the eighth house Venus. But I like to be possessed. I like to belong somewhere. Um, and it's like not hard for me to maintain a loyalty to the things and forces in life in which I feel like I have belonging to. Because I only really like invest in feelings of belonging with like when it's an authentic belonging. So like at the time I was like, well, I'm not with him and I don't think that we're gonna like really be super successful in the near future. But I also don't belong to anyone else or like, so I just didn't really have like this sounds weird and like I haven't really actually spoken about this out loud before, so forgive me if this sounds a little bit like disjointed. Um, but there was just like a period of months after I moved and I knew that that relationship was kind of like that I was just kind of like, but what if and how can it and um like I just kind of got sick of myself and the energy though. Like after a while I was like you're looking a little bit pathetic here. Like and then I started to get like angry and it was really only through anger that I was able to kind of release myself from that situation because after a while like the one-sidedness of the relationship really started to bother me because although I'm somebody who's really devoted, I do have a lot of self-respect and I think of myself as like somebody who's worth a lot. Like I know that I am. Like I've done a lot in my life and like I've accomplished a lot in my life personally for myself to make myself somebody who's like of quality and of value. So I got frustrated by the fact that this relationship, like that relationship was not properly reflecting to me the value that I knew that I had been cultivating. So it just kind of felt like I was being depreciated after a while. Like um in the beginning, like in like earlier years of that relationship, I was like, well, I'm just like kind of like paying my dues, like I'm getting my stripes, like like I'm proving to you that I can be loyal under even the most extreme conditions. Like you could be doing this to me and I could still be like right here where you left me and I'll be good. And like no matter what, I'll be a good girl. But I started to not get so much like I started to really feel like I was just kind of like imprisoning myself. And there was like it wasn't even like he was standing guard outside of um my cage. Like he wasn't even there to like he might not even given a fuck if I was doing anything, like so then I was just like, okay, like this is stupid. Like, what am I doing this for? Like, I've imprisoned myself for no reason and for no benefit. So, then I did the whole like releasing ritual and it like involved a bonfire in my backyard and and then I just decided to move on. So that was me. That was my life. But yeah, I don't know. There might be some things that you want to, some questions that you need to kind of ask yourself about why you maintain the things in your life that you maintain. Is it just out of like a habit of maintaining them? Is it out of like, because you mentioned like, it's the kind of comfort that holds you back, not satisfied in more ways than one. He's a good person, but maybe not my person. Yeah, that sounds a little like familiar to me. Um, I've considered just not living with him, but still dating him. Okay, so let's answer that question first. What do your guys have to say about that connection and its longevity? Moon cycle's patience at the bottom of the deck. I'm gonna use this Wildwood tarot. I'm for some reason hearing the Gorillas in my head, and they're like dropping a new album soon. But I listened to the like pre-released stuff, which is pretty good, by the way. Feel like a Gorillas fan. Okay, so what do Taylor's guys have to say about this connection and its longevity? I've I feel called to say this. I've been working on centering my new relationship around God, and I've really enjoyed that. So I don't know like what your relationship is with God or what your partner's relationship is with God, but I wonder like if you guys have similar philosophy and whether or not that might contribute to some of the differences that you're experiencing or like some of the hiccups that you've been experiencing in this relationship. Okay, what did Taylor Swift have to say about this connection? Eight of Wands, Earthfire. Hope you can see that. I mentioned the releasing ritual that I did around a bonfire, and then the first card that comes out is dancing around a bonfire. So this kind of gives me the vibe that they kind of do maybe want you to be excited about whatever could come from releasing what's in your way. And I'm not going to immediately say that it's this person because it might not be. I don't know. But whatever is in your way, they are excited about you releasing that and being willing to release that. Especially if it was something that did bring you comfort, right? Like I got like I don't know, this might sound bad, but it's kind of like the way that I was made to be. Fuck, my phone's on 20%. I have to get the charger. It's my fault. Um, I think it's the way that I was meant to be. I kind of do center my life around the relationships that I'm in. The card that's right here looking at me is the wise one, tradition and order. So it's a little bit like I'm kind of a traditional person. Like at the end of the day, it's the Taurus stellium, like the Hierophant is Taurus. I'm really traditional and like just the people like if I'm in a relationship, like that person kind of becomes like the center of my universe, and it's like a really obvious thing. I'm not like the kind of person who like keeps my relationships a secret or um, like I usually want to involve the person that I'm with in like everything that I'm doing. Like it's like I'm with them. Like I think of that union as being really like important. Um, to be something that is kind of like all encompassing. So when it comes to like, holding you back socially, like jealous and insecure, like is this somebody who doesn't like to be around you when you're having fun? Or do they not have fun in the same ways as you? Like what is it that's making that difficult? These are questions to kind of like ask yourself. Um, because like I feel like you might have ideas about how you want to move forward in your life, and if you're not like if you, when you're having a conversation about that with this person and they're not like on the same accord, then that could be one of the main indicators that lets you know like yeah, like this is maybe not somebody who's going with me. This is somebody who I'm leaving behind. We're just like diverging, like we're going apart, like we're going out of each other. He doesn't like when you get attention. Thank you for being here. Okay, cool. So I don't know. He doesn't like when you get attention. But I feel like you're probably somebody who's meant to be getting attention. But then again, I don't think that like I'm not at the same time, are you properly assuring your person of your committedness and loyalty to them? Because that's important for me. Like as somebody who runs social media, like I get a lot of attention, I get a lot of compliments, I get a lot of people like even asking me if I'm single or like if they can, take me out on a date or something like that. Like that happens in my life. So I have to be someone who's constantly like, you know, I do my part to reassure my partner, my current boyfriend, that he's the only person that I give a fuck about. If that means rejecting somebody in a public way, then that means I do that. Because once again, like, I'm not super concerned with the feelings of other people who aren't my partner. If like that means, before I post something on social media, like I run it by him first, then that's what I do. I recently got like kind of like someone from my church reached out to me and they were like, well, we're thinking about like, what would you think about working in our youth ministry? And I was like, I'll think about it. And then this morning I texted him and I was like, well, what do you think? Like, what would you think if I did this? Like, I let him know that like his opinion matters and that I'm considering him in the things that I do, even as somebody who does operate independently and does like kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I don't do a good enough job. Yeah, okay, so then that's just an area in which you can improve. And it doesn't have to be that like it's the end of the thing. It's just like, maybe once again, moon cycle is patience, you know? I'm glad that you're here so that we can have like a little bit more of an interactive session. Um, yeah, I'm hearing that Frank Ocean thing in my head where it's quite alright to hate me now. 'Cause we both know that deep down, feeling still deep down is good. Yeah. Like I was mentioning, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned this before, I was talking about how like this person feels like they're personally invested in what you do. Like this person's attachment and maybe like clinginess to your energy is a result of them feel like they have a personal stake because you're kind of operating now more as a group. So that they need to feel like they can rely on you. Because like on this card, she has her hand on his shoulder. Like she's comforting him and the fire. Okay, so what else about how you guys are seeing this relationship? Broke your heart last week, you probably feel better by the weekend. Still remember how you going crazy, screaming my name, you're feeling deep down, it's good. Page of Wands in reverse, stout to ferret in the reverse. Balance is also in the reverse. Justice, it's two snakes. And then Ten of Pentacles home, upright though. Seven of Cups at the bottom of the deck, mourning. And then Seven of Stones or Pentacles in reverse, healing. This is how it looks upright. Hope you can see that. Well, okay. So I'm kind of getting the vibe that there's some mutual flaw in this relationship, and it's kind of important to see it that way. Got the email to ask if we want to renew the lease. Yeah, I can make it a point to clarify that energy a little bit more clearly in a second. I'm probably gonna have to change um the setup of the camera also at some point in this reading because my phone's I'll do it when I get the 10% notification, but I'm gonna have to flip it because my phone's gonna die. Um yeah, I feel like this energy currently is a little bit out of balance. If I'm being completely honest about it, like there are some mutual flaws here. And that doesn't like mean that it has to be over because the Ten of Pentacles is upright here, home is upright, like it's still positively aspected, but some of the energy that's surrounding it is like the need to maybe have conversations about where you have been maybe immature and where they maybe have been immature, or like how the ways that you guys act affect each other. And I recently just went through like a little phase kind of like this in my relationship because I just started the new year like with my boyfriend. He came over and like met some of my more distant relatives, and like that was really cool. First time I've ever like done anything like that, and it went well. But then like and like literally like the next day we got into a fight. Like the next day. Um like it took no time. Like I and then like for like 3 days, like it was like a period of like 3 days. We were having like I was having issues. I don't know if he was having issues because he like hasn't like said anything, and I don't know if that's like his like relationship style or like maybe he could have been going through some stuff and like just wasn't mentioning it. But like I'm not the kind of person who like suffers in silence, so I was like what's going on? I was just kind of like lashing out a little bit on the relationship, and then I was actually kind of mean to him at one point, and I had to like I like kind of like crashed out a little bit, and then I like said a whole bunch of like mean stuff, and then I went out like and then I went out, and then I was gone for like hours. I didn't even come back home until like 3 in the morning, and then I texted him, and I was like, "I'm sorry, that was mean." Because we're actually the same. Like I literally said that I was like, we're actually the same. Like everything that I was kind of like feeling weird about, like if I was being honest with myself, like I'm kind of the same. So that was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry. And then he was like, it's cool. We can talk about it more in person. And um he's been working a lot, so like I haven't even seen him since New Year's. And it's only been like a week, but it just felt like a long time because I'm used to seeing him more often. But it's also good that I'm not really seeing him as often because that means he's working, and that he's like, making money and stuff, which is great. I just like I don't know, it's been weird. And I've been feeling like, some of the pressures I think of just like being in a relationship of seriousness and that being kind of a newer experience for me. And because like based in my past relationship, I'm kind of used to being like the saint. Like I'm used to being the person who is doing everything right, and like I'm used to not really finding myself in any position of true fault. But this is a situation that, because of how like close to home it is, I have to kind of like, be more aware of even myself and the ways in which I kind of contribute to some of the chaos that's been going on. Which means like apologizing when necessary, because which is something that's hard for me to do. Like when I recognize that I'm kind of like wrong, I can say I'm sorry. So yeah. But this could be a time when you're being made more aware of yourself through this connection, like through the contrast, through the balance that exists, or the balance that isn't existing. Because your person could be kind of like my person, and like they could be someone who doesn't really talk that much. He kind of tries to humble me. I don't know, like he's jealous. Um, my boyfriend is dominant, so like sometimes he'll tell me like he'll say stuff to me, It just kind of like reminds me that he's in control. And if, you know, I wasn't the traditional type, I think that would bother me more than it does. Um, but he definitely will like in subtle like ways kind of like remind me that he's the one who's in charge. So I know that like, that could be happening, like right, like this person might not be communicating with you. Yeah, very quiet, can't take him anywhere. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like this could be like an opposites attract kind of thing. Like, you might be the one who's more of like the social butterfly, but this person I think is aware of themselves as being powerful also. They're just not powerful in the most obvious sense. Tries to make you feel less attractive. Oh, well, that's not good. I don't fuck with that. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like they're trying to like cope a little bit with your significance. But I don't think that, the whole like talking down on you thing is cool. Like, I don't think that's cool. But I think that some of that could be a result of the fact that they don't feel super secure or that they're not getting the validation that they need. And you could, take the position of like, it's not my responsibility to give that to you. Or you could be like, I'm recognizing where you're weak and we're in a relationship, so how can I help you? But he loves you. Yeah, like, so if you acknowledge that this person like genuinely loves the fuck out of you, but sometimes lashes out, I think that you're likely doing that same thing in other ways. Like you're not talking maybe down on them, or you're not even seeing that you are when you are. But I think you guys both have like shadow aspects that are lashing out towards each other because of what you feel like you need that you're not getting. Like if you want, like honestly, like if you if you had the life of the party boyfriend, would you prefer that? Probably not. That comes with its own problems, right? So having the quiet guy who kind of just like stands behind you like a good like a Belgian Malinois, like a dog, isn't so bad. And if you can find a way to make that person feel like they're comfortable, like they belong in that space with you, that could be something that's helpful for you. That actually happened when my boyfriend came over for New Year's because my dad is still like it was a party, but my dad was like it's at his house, and I'd hate it probably. Yeah, I've had that boyfriend and I didn't. It was hard because he was cheating on me. Um, but like my dad was like leading the party or whatever, and whenever my boyfriend like spoke, he like would ignore him. So what I had to do is like when if my boyfriend did something and then my dad ignored it, I would repeat it so that like he wouldn't ignore me. Like, but I was just reiterating the same exact thing, like the same exact words that my boyfriend would say. And that was my way of letting my boyfriend know that, when he's around, he has me to support him in his corner as well. And letting my dad know that, like, bullying my boyfriend is only acceptable to a certain extent. Like, that's the kind of mediation that I feel like your guys might want to encourage you to kind of embody a little bit more. Like, where you don't have to, like, necessarily be, you don't have to be removed from the environments in which you feel comfortable, but you also maybe have to kind of cater a little bit more to your person and then them as well. Like it wouldn't be like a one-sided thing. Like you would maybe need to have a conversation about how you're going to make each other feel more comfortable. Like what do they need from you? Like if they don't want to go out with you, like if they don't want to be at the music party thingies, um, what do they need from you to feel like they can rest in the fact that you're going to operate yourself as you should when you're out? So this feels like mutual reassurance. This feels like identifying like really clearly what the problem is and then kind of like attacking it directly. Which feels like a like responsibility and reversible on the leg. Like mutually both of you could have been like dropping the ball when it comes to doing what you should do for your other person. So like if you're taking pictures and you're like out and you're looking good, like if you're like getting dressed up to go out and they're not going with you and they're like they and they like maybe said something about like your appearance or something like that, like they could be like, I'm threatened, Queen of Wands. Like you are really attractive. So the fact that you're kind of like out and about and like being seen like probably does like piss this person off, honestly. Um, because they could be aware of the differences in your skill sets when it comes to this whole like social game. So it's not that they don't want to see you, because I took us I just saw that they don't want to see you be happy or successful. It's just like this person is occasionally triggered by it, and that's just the result of them being the person that they are. The same way that you can get triggered by when they're like jealous. When he comes with me, I don't have as much fun, to be honest. Why? 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 Fuck. I don't know if you even know why. The Sun of Life in reverse and the Eight of Pentacles skill. Like these could be some things that you need to think about. Like he's so jealous. But what is it that's happening that makes him so jealous? Like I'm wondering, like, is this jealousy irrational jealousy or is it like rational jealousy? Because there's a difference between those two things. If I talk to somebody who's like, what were you saying to them? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He sounds kind of like me, so I kind of get it. Like I would, I don't know. Like my boyfriend, I'm pretty sure he knows the password to my phone. So he hates when I network. My boyfriend like has known how to get into my phone since like the second hangout. Um, I don't know, like, and when I make it a like I make myself really obvious to him. So I don't even have a problem. Like if it was me, like, and I'm not saying that this is how you should be, right? But I'm just letting you know, like part of the reason why I'm like maybe having sympathy for this is because of how I am. Because I'm a Taurus stellium, and like I'm just pretty rock solid as a person. I don't know. Like it's just in my nature to be that way. So like if I'm like if he were to ask me like what I was saying to him, I would literally just say exactly what I said. Like I would just because like for me, that's what I would want. Because I would if I was with my man at like a bar and he went out and talked to somebody and I wanted to ask the question, like, what did you say? I would want to get the answer. Like, I would want to know what was said. And it wouldn't be so much that, like, I'm going to control what you're saying. It's just that I want to be included even without being included. And then once I get to the point where, like, I can feel like I am included without being included, and that what's being said, even when I'm not around, is something that I'm not, like, when I hear it, I'm like, okay, like, where that was what was said. I can kind of, like, predict maybe what you might be saying so that I don't have to ask next time, like what might be going on. And then I can, through time, feel more comfortable. Like, like, but for me, like, the trust has to be earned, and like, I give people the opportunity to earn my trust by asking questions and getting answers. Like, or like, like, that's for me, like, it shouldn't be hard for you to let me know what you're talking about to somebody else. And that's not even like really in my mind like super jealous. It's just like you're mine. Because another thing about like Taurus is that it's possessive as fuck. Like, it's possessive as fuck. So it's like you're literally my person. So like I do want to know what you're talking about. Because you're representing me here. Like you're not just you, you're also my person. So like let's make sure that everything's where it should be. Like I don't know. I kind of get that. So I can't personally have too much to say about it. And I feel like, you might be this sun person and this person is more of this Eight of Pentacles. I'm Taurus. You're Taurus too? Okay, cool. He's Aquarius. What house is your sun in? I'm curious. Does it do anything? Fuck it, bro. I'm just gonna start another video. But thank you guys for watching this one, and I'm gonna start another one right after it. Oh, you can hear now? Whoa! Okay, okay, okay. Okay, awesome. We didn't have to. Yo, as soon as I accepted the fact that I was gonna have to end this, it worked out, I guess. So, hmm. I don't know. That could be some kind of like omen for you. I need a drink. Hold on a second. I'm drinking from this like mug of my enemies. Gotta keep this around whenever I'm on live and shit. Like I don't know what it is. Like ever since this new year, I've been drinking from the mug of my enemies, and I feel like we just had like this hiccup where I like we couldn't you couldn't hear me. It's like a miscommunication kind of a thing. This person could be like me, and they could be a bit paranoid of external interference. Like I don't know what your person's like relationship history has been, but I've been cheated on mercilessly. So that's part of the reason why I make everything in my life pretty obvious, and I would expect that if I had questions about my partner, that they would just answer my fucking question. So yeah. Um, but then once I like kind of like get what I need in terms of trust, I can lend it really easily. Like part of the reason why someone was able to cheat on me so mercilessly was because I almost accidentally kind of like let them because I wasn't on their ass. Like I wasn't. Like I was like, well, I wouldn't cheat on you, so you wouldn't cheat on me. Hopefully. But I was wrong. So now I'm kind of hyper vigilant about being with people who are duplicit. Um, and I'm always kind of like watching and studying my partner. So I feel like, if you're experiencing what you might perceive as like, jealousy and insecurity from this person, like, yeah, to some degree it could be that. But I think mostly it's this person kind of like looking out for their own best interests. Um, and that maybe is something that's not for you to take personally, but to just kind of understand about the person that you're in a relationship with. Okay, so I wanted to move on to the next part of this reading because that was only the first question that you asked. So this part is about beliefs, and for this specifically, I'm going to use my ancestral deck. Oh wow! For some reason, I was shuffling this deck, and the bottom of the deck is the runaway, secrets and running from problems. So the solution might not be to go so far, um, but maybe just to open up the cage that you feel like you're in. And then we have the king at the bottom of the deck. Control and reversal of fortune. Like I mentioned how like it was really important for me in my relationship to make sure that my person knew that he was allowed to be dominant because that's the role that he wants to be in and that's the role that I would prefer him to be in, honestly. Um so I think your person might actually be yearning for some increased dominance or just the security and confidence that kind of comes along with knowing that you're top dog in your relationship. And my person actually was telling me this the other day that he's miserable at bars. He doesn't like to go out that much. So I wonder if there's some kind of like social arena that you could invite this person to that's not
like I don't know where you're going if you're going to bars or something like that. But I wonder if there's some kind of way where you guys can be social and it be like something a little bit more comfortable at the same time. I don't know if that's possible though. So this also might mean needing to have conversations about what your personal needs are, and then also being available for what your partner's needs are as well. So like let's say for example like you feel like it's really important for you to be able to network. Um like do you remember like in the earlier part of this reading when I was talking about how I needed to reference a past relationship, but I also didn't want to disrespect my current relationship? Like I put like out like a disclaimer. Like before I even did the thing that might have been bothersome, I kind of like explained why I was doing it and the purpose of it. So this kind of feels like you being able to kind of forecast what could be a problem and then you kind of circumventing that, like not even really allowing there to be doubt or anxiety where there need not be. Okay, I'm trying to get out of that energy, and move into the least part of this, which I think is kind of important. Um, so what do your ancestors, like your guides, or be more general, what do they want you to know? But this isn't ancestral deck, so what about this whole lease thing, like moving? What do you need to know about your current location? Nine of Cups in reverse. So that looks okay. Ten of Wands in reverse. Ten of Wands is now moving towards the Nine of Cups. So the energy of burden, um, responsibility, moving towards um, like happiness and with fulfillment. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Why are these all coming up? This is it upright, just like working together. Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Ace of Pentacles because I'm miserable. The Hermit in reverse and the Page of Wands in reverse. Okay, so I'm thinking for whatever reason about another person that I'm really closely spiritual aligned with that I do some consultation work for sometimes, and her name is Panini the Mimi. So you may have heard me talk about her before, but she recently just got a job opportunity that's gonna pay her a lot of money, and it's having her move um to like Detroit, Michigan, I think it is, something like that. And that came to my mind. Because at the time, like before, at the time that she initially booked her reading, she had just put in her 2 week notice, and she was like, "Well, I'm just gonna become like a tattoo artist." And then she got an offer from in the same industry. You're in Michigan. Holy shit. She got an offer in the same industry that was gonna pay her more. And then she was like, "Okay, well, I'll take that opportunity." Because she wasn't really dissatisfied. She just wasn't getting enough for her efforts. Like she was in a container a little bit smaller than herself, and she was starting to feel that, and so she was trying to like push at the boundaries. Um, and she was desiring expansion, and it wasn't really until she was like, "Well, I'm willing to kind of see this expansion by any means, even if it means that I'm starting this for myself." Through some kind of like creative pursuit, that she saw some of that expression that she wanted to see. So that's why I feel like the Ace of Pentacles is coming out here. Is I feel like you're ready to kind of shed some skin, kind of like a snake. Like you're ready to grow, which means that you have to let some stuff go. And I think you're trying to figure out right now what those things are that need to be shed, just in a general sense. So if it's this apartment or like this place, I don't know where you live in, like a house, this home, I'll just say that. That could be, something. I don't know though. Like in my mind, I struggle to understand how just a home itself could be limiting, unless you already have somewhere in mind that might be more central to your city, might give you more easy, like less commute time to certain places where you feel like you need to be to make certain progress, or something like that. Whatever you are shedding though, it needs to like make sense to how it contributes to your functionality. Um, and like it almost feels like you're encouraged to be aware of the responsibilities that you'll have to carry on the other end of making certain choices. So if you are choosing obviously not to renew your lease, like where are you going next and how is that better? And those are the questions that you're encouraged to kind of be thinking more deeply about. And then if it is the separation from your partner, how is that better? Does that actually help your relationship? Or would that just be like the slippery slope of distance and doom, you know? Um, so like just be aware of the aftermath, I would say that would come from some of these choices that you would be making for yourself. And if they are selfish choices, that's okay if you're needing to be in an energy of selfishness. But just know that there might be some stuff that comes on the other end of that that you're not necessarily enjoying as much. Like you guys have been together for like 3 years, right? So like if you're splitting up furniture, like who gets what, like who pays for what, and will if they bought the TV, like are you prepared to buy another TV? Or that be like a source of a lot of argument, which might not be avoidable, right? Like 'cause that's what happens when you like are splitting up. But it just be aware that if you decide to like stop cohabitating, that might be communicated very clearly to this person as like, oh, we're splitting up because what was ours is no longer ours. It's now like what's mine and what's yours. And that's kind of this subconscious communication that you're giving to this person, which could contribute to a lot of other things like them maybe like starting to see other people or like you seeing other people like that. Those would be the this I don't know, like going from living together and not living together probably would not be the greatest thing for this relationship. Just being honest, like I don't know that it gets better after you do that. But you might not really be concerned with it getting better, so I don't know. Why is the Knight of Cups here in the reverse? The devil. Yeah, I feel like yeah, like before you even make this choice, it could be important to just like really have a sit down talk with this person. Because as of right now, you guys are connected by resources, and that's what's like I don't want to say primarily maintaining this because I'm sure you guys have some feelings for each other um that are pretty serious. But I don't know how if you guys have really been properly honoring the things that you have for each other. So that's the shadow, that's the devil that's kind of interfering with the happiness. Like I don't know that it's the whole relationship that's bad. I think it's that you guys haven't been properly honoring how you feel for each other. And so there could be some words that need to be spoken about that so that you both can express yourselves. Um, 'Cause I feel like this might be a situation that deserves an opportunity to be successful or to be healthier. Um, and it's up to you whether or not you want to invest in that. But that's kind of the point where you're at right now when you're deciding this whole like lease thing. I feel like is like, am I going to invest in the possibility that this relationship gets better? Why is the Ten of Wands here in there? Two of Cups. Yeah. Knight of Cups underneath the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Like having that conversation, like being really real in the same way that I just was with you, I feel like would be helpful for this relationship. Whether it leads to the end or it leads to a new beginning, at least you'll know for sure like what you're doing and where the other person stands. So if you're like, well, I'm starting to feel a little bit like a way about having you in my space because I feel like the things that I want to do, you don't agree with. That kind of gives them the opportunity to understand how serious you kind of are about having some of your personal freedoms and being respected and having them. And then they can have the choice to decide whether or not you having that personal freedom is truly a hindrance to them. And then hopefully in that same conversation, they will be like, okay, well, I don't want you to go, but this is what I need. And this is what will help me to not be a hindrance to those personal freedoms. And if it can't really go like that, like if it's not, we're working on this together, then it's probably not going to be a relationship that continues to pan out over the long term. So either way, you're getting a new beginning, but as of right now, you're probably just not sure whether or not this person's in it. And then you mentioned like this whole like year buffer. Yeah, I feel like probably that. Like the next year could be you kind of figuring out like what's coming with me before I take the bigger leap. Because I feel like you already know you want to take a bigger leap. You're just probably not fully ready yet. Like you might still want to accumulate some resources or save like money, or there could just be more to do where you are right now spiritually. But this kind of maybe feels like preparation for the next thing. And it's important that, if you really do love this person, that you give them an opportunity to kind of, align with you. Um, or give them the opportunity to understand where it is that you see yourself going, so they can understand for themselves whether or not they actually fit into that. Why is the Ace of thanks Seven of Wands? Yeah. I would say don't be defensive about speaking honestly and clearly and truthfully, even if that does mean hurting feelings. And then also expect that in return. Like, you guys might need to have a fight, or like the Hierophant, like you might need to be really blunt about how you see this relationship as of currently and what's going right and what's going wrong and how it makes you feel about the plans that you're thinking about your future. Like don't be an escape artist and like make secret plans to like escape from this person and not give them a chance to like improve upon themselves. Um like this is, I feel like, a situation where like you could maybe even, I don't want to say like you have an obligation to give them a chance, but like maybe you should really like give them a chance, because I feel like you could probably understand how you have also contributed to some of these problems. Like these problems to me don't appear as one-sided because the Two of Cups is upright. Like whatever this relationship is not giving me like toxic or like bad or like bad relationship person, like you're with a person who's terrible. Like I'm not getting that at all. So I'm getting more like you guys need to, you guys maybe haven't been communicating clearly with each other. Like you do things that bother each other and then you won't really speak about that directly. Or one person suffers in silence more than the other person does. And then like you might have to address some like built up resentment that hasn't been spoken of, especially on the part of your person. Two avoidance. I have to play the leader. But that's probably like okay and good. Like you might need to like create the space for this person, like ask them questions about how they've been feeling about you in a relationship. Like this could be like, you guys are sitting down over like a dinner or like a coffee and you're like, okay, like how has this relationship been for you over the last 6 months? Like how are you feeling about that? And they might be kind of like shy to say things because this person like wants you, they love you. So they might be afraid to say anything that might make you leave them, but you guys probably need to get past that block and speak about the more like blunter truths. Yeah. I actually just had a situation like this in the recent past. Like I told you, like I kind of like blew up in my person and then I like dipped out. So I get it. But like even if the situation does get kind of like heated or intense at some point, it's like you can still move forward through that energy. I wonder like if this is a relationship in which you guys have kind of been afraid to step on each other's toes a little bit, like historically. And that might be a cycle that's coming to an end and that needs to come to an end if this is going to continue over the long term, is that you guys need to be a little bit less sensitive about what it means to function as a partnership better. A little bit less me versus you, a little bit more us versus the problem. Okay, so yeah, let me see what else I can speak about before I close. Studio group drama. I can touch on that real quick. Okay. Um, what do you need to know about these people in the studio group? How do they see you? And how are they like explaining your energy? Well, well, this is the priest, perseverance and faith. Definitely looking like really powerful. And we have the guide also in the reverse. So it's like people are maybe following your lead, even if they don't want to admit that, taking cues from you, feeling inspired by you. Okay. How are people in the studio group seeing Taylor? The Alchemist. In the reverse, balance, invention, and destruction. People could be seeing you as magical. Um, but it just kind of feels like they don't really understand the method behind your madness, maybe even occasionally. Or they don't understand like what you're made of, like your formula or something like that. How you do it the way that you do it, or why you do it the way that you do it. What else about Taylor from the studio group? There could be some people also who are like using their power against you in some way, so you might be noticing that. Like I had this one woman in my life who like was literally gifting, like she was like spiritual or whatever, but like pisses me off actually. She thinks I'm an idiot. I don't know why, but um she gifted me like a amethyst crystal, like an amethyst sphere. Like it wasn't. I pay attention to the shapes of crystals, right? Because the shapes of crystals actually do have meanings and they have different like impacts based on the shape of the cake. So she gifted me this like raw amethyst sphere, and it's spear, not sphere, spear, and like it was huge. And I was like, dude, this is because the amethyst crystal relates to the crown chakra. Um, and I was like, dude, like you're not gonna be able to hijack my brain. Like, you know, have you ever like gotten a gift from someone that you know they were only giving you that so they could use it against you in some kind of way? Like that was exactly the vibe that like I got from like getting that crystal from her. Like she only gave me that so that she could have access to my mental energy. Like she wanted to know what was going on in my mind. She wanted to be able to influence me. And like I think she gave one because I think this is like, you know, I don't think I know. This is my dad's, I think, current girlfriend. She gave one to my dad too, and he gave it to me. He was like, I don't even I don't even want this. So I have two of them. I have two amethyst spheres that are like literally the size of like a finger. Um, and it's just like, bro, we're not into mind control around here. But people might be underestimating your knowledge of things. Like because you don't speak on it, because you're not actively waving your wand around all the time, people might think that you're not powerful or that you don't know what their intentions are towards you when they do things. And people could also be thinking that they're getting away with certain things around you that they're not getting away with. So I'm picking up on this energy of underestimation of your significance, which is strange because people I feel like would only try to interfere with you in this way if they understood your significance. Like it's like I don't know, like they I don't know. I don't know. What else from the okay. We have fate, accepting help and guidance. Oh, I didn't see that message. I'm sorry. The thief. Whoa. Seizing the moment and selfishness. Some people want to steal your life. I don't know if you like have social media or maybe you dress really well, maybe you have some really creative qualities of being, some like really creative skills. Like there's a key on the thief card. People might want to take away your ability to access certain resources. Like if you have a good relationship with the boss, they might want the boss to start to like not like you. If you are getting scheduled to work the shifts with like I'm thinking like of when I used to work at a sports bar and I got like I was one of the most attractive waitresses on the staff and I was getting scheduled to work like weekend shifts and we were getting like way more clients or like customers during the weekend. So I was getting better tips and it wasn't even like having to work as hard because I was just cute. Like I dressed really nicely whenever I went, and I made sure that I was cute so that I could receive appropriately. um, so I feel like, you know, there could be some people around you who are threatened by like your cuteness or like they're threatened by the way in which you can naturally appeal to people around you. So this could be like, you know, just like you are just naturally a more attractive person in your space right now. And there are people who are like pissed about that. Or you could be younger, or you could be older, or something like that. Like there's something about you that stands out. Or like you were like in a like I mentioned how I go to predominantly white like church. So I'm like one of a couple of black women who go there, and I might be probably I don't want to like toot my own horn here, but I'm probably one of the most attractive of them. So I'm standing out in contrast, but I'm not in a contrast that you can like point down at. Like I'm not white, and white might be right over there, but I'm like the best black. It sounds so weird to say that out loud, but it's true. So I'm dealing with the fact that I'm a comparable opponent, although I am not traditionally what someone would be threatened by. So people don't even really have anything in their like tool belt to kind of immediately defend against me because they're not even used to having to consider my presence as a threat. Like, I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense to you. But yeah, I feel like you're somebody who people feel like they immediately need to kind of like make plans for. Like if I'm gonna bring my boyfriend around you, or like if I'm gonna bring like anybody who's important around me, I need to like have a plan on how I'm gonna like make you seem smaller or how I'm gonna make myself seem bigger around you. So what else about Taylor? The patron, mentorship and finances. But I really do feel like you're putting people on in some kind of way. Um, like it could be your style. When I say style, it could be clothing. It could be like literally the way that you walk. It could be like the way you talk. It could be something about your like body language here. I think you're like an overall attractive person, and not just attractive like physically, but also like mind, body, soul. Like star quality kind of energy, but not like so obnoxious, like maybe a little bit more um quiet and humble. Like when it comes to like networking opportunities, you're kind of the person that people are already interested in before they even know anything about you. Why is the alchemist here? Well, the assassin just came out. Ruthlessness and conviction. People could think you're a bitch. Um, I was channeling that Panini the Meanie energy before, and she actually works at a mortgage firm. People could know that you have some kind of like ability to be a bitch, or honestly have to be. Yeah, like yeah. I feel like they like that, but they also like know not to like put themselves in a position to be opposed by that. Like people may generally kind of be afraid of what you might have to say about them. Then we have the pilgrim opportunities and growth coming out underneath fate. So, I mean, people could already know that there are people in that same space who are wanting to work with you or wanting to offer you kind of opportunities that will give you advantages beyond their current station. Because you could be like this light bringer. Like when you're not around, things are boring, or like when you're not around, things don't get done right. Um, like you could be somebody who's like fun in the workspace, but also a rule follower in the workspace. You could be someone who looks good on the cover of things. Like you're who they want to represent them. Like they're proud to kind of have you. And I'm saying they, like the superiors are kind of proud, whoever those are maybe, are proud to have you as someone who outfaces. They've forgotten, yeah, you make people feel small around you. Missed opportunities and fear of failure. Let's come in underneath the thief. So people who are most likely to try to steal what you have are those who feel like what they have is not anything comparable to what you have. And those people especially have their eyes on you. So this could be people who actually are like willing to stalk you. The air, unseen potential and hesitation underneath the patron. I was saying like you're putting people on. So people who know they can't stop you and also know that you outrank them, maybe especially want to be your friend. So beware of fake friends because some people might literally just want to attach to you for the sake of like being the next hand that comes up after yours. So when it comes to like you maybe having desires to like leave your workplace or like leave your boyfriend, like people might want to literally be I don't know if you can even you can't even see those hands because they're like in white, but like they're like as soon as you drop that, I'm picking it up. Like, oh God, I'm taking it. But it like, that would only happen if you gave it up, so don't give it up, you know? And I mentioned that whole like racial contrast thing. Some people could have like a you could have some racial contrasting going on because these are black hands and these are white hands. And for some reason that's just like sticking out to me. Because they're similarly like kind of um oriented on the cards, except the black hands are like, I'm holding this book. I really want the knowledge, like I really want the value, you know? And then the white hands are like, I really want the crown. Like I want like I feel like the reason why you have certain things that others don't have is because they want those things for like more superficial reasons. Or like more materialistic reasons. So yeah. Like you're a little bit more, I think, genuine and that kind of comes through to people right now around you. And it makes them like people who are like in power, it makes them more likely to want to trust you, the shepherd. So like I think there's probably someone in a position of power around you who understands why you're worth protecting and maintaining. The king. And that came out for the boyfriend part, so that could be him as well. Yeah. Okay. So what do you need to know about what's going on around those people? I'll pull like four cards from this and then I'll close the reading because I'm starting to get a little hungry. School bus just came in. I can see everything that goes on because I'm like seated above the front of my neighborhood. Yeah, King of Wands. I wonder if there's like a powerful man who is around you right now. That could be taking. I mean, I think there could be powerful men around you. Hey, hello. There could be powerful men around you in multiple ways. I don't know. Like it might not just be one man, or one masculine. It could be just that I yeah, the guy that you record with. Okay, yeah. So the kind of like I mentioned, this is my divine feminine aspect. I have this little black cat, and she has like characteristic little white spots on her. Like she has a little white chest and a little white hoo-ha. I'm not gonna expose her. I'm sorry. I'm probably wrong. I'm sorry. But she has two little white spots on her. And I'm sorry, that was so wrong. I shouldn't have done that to you. But I have my divine masculine dog, and he's like this gigantic Belgian Malinois. Um, so I feel like you have like these maybe like guardian type spirits around you, or like masculine energies that understand the value of your participation to the point where they will like preserve you, like protect you or prioritize you above more insignificant counterparts. Like this could be the energy of you being like explicitly chosen as a work partner, or people just understanding that you get the better tools, resources, access, life experiences. And I think the reason why this is because you know what to do with them. Like you know what to do with them. You're not. You're not a waste of time. And masculine energy is really concerned with not wasting its time, or healthy masculine energy is concerned with not wasting its time, not wasting its resources, not having experiences of regret regarding investments. So you look like too masculine energy, too strong masculine energy, like you're productive, or like you can make something better than someone else could, which is why you're worth more. And that's just kind of like commonly known and understood about you. So there is like an increased pressure on people who are not sitting in that status to like try to be in that status. And I think that you just happen to exist as the referential point in people's lives is what that looks like or could look like. And so they might send energy towards your brand of being powerful and worthy. King of Cups now, Heron. People could also feel like, you don't have to do so much. Like things come easily towards you, but I think you're just a patient person. And you are more concerned with Ace of Cups producing quality than producing a lot. But then again, we have those like masculine energies here. Like I don't know if this is actually a masculine. It has horns, so I'm thinking that it is, but it's drinking from the water. So whatever you are producing is like refreshing. So maybe both masculine and feminine energy. So like maybe some feminine energies can only really appeal to feminine energies, and some can only appeal to masculine energies, but you can appeal to both. So you're looking like somebody who, if you have weaknesses, they're hard to see. If you have shortcomings, they're hard to see. Four of Pentacles, protection. Like I mentioned protection, like you're guarded. Like this isn't like a place where you have to worry about losing your position to someone else. You'd have to give it up. Someone in my neighborhood just locked their car. So like yeah, you're locked in some kind of way. We have the Nine of Cups, generosity. Nine of Cups keeps coming out in your energy. Like it's like I think the third time that I've seen this card from three different decks. So that's pretty cool. Or two different decks. Two of Wands, decision. Yeah, someone feels powerful in association with you. Like when they're working with you, when they're around you, when you're sharing ideas, they feel powerful. Like what they're doing is worth value, or you could be good at giving words of affirmation or something like that. Or this is something that you could improve on. Uh, or I mentioned like this is something you could improve on criticism that actually is productive. So like when you have something to say to the contrary, it actually makes sense. Like you're not just a yes man. You're also somebody who can suggest correction. You have the Wheel of Fortune, which is a 10, and I said this is the year of 10. So this could be a time when people are actually appreciating your idea, your vision for the future when it comes to this like workspace. Like maybe more than they did before, or you could just be about to get some new ideas. Maybe like brand related. I don't know if you guys like if your studio has like a social media, um, or like whatever. But I actually have another mutual who does music, works in a music studio. And they've hosted like open mics and they've had like classes that they've started up, um, for like engineering. So like, there could be some ideas that you have that you want to present to somebody who is in leadership. I'm low-key the best at content out of the group. Yeah. People trust your ideas, and if you want to like present some of them, people I think would agree with them or like want to support them or see those ideas through. So, yeah, that is what I have for your reading, and I hope that she liked it and that you enjoyed it. I really need to eat some food because I haven't eaten anything today. So I'm at the point now where I'm really hungry. But thank you so much for trusting me and for whatever patience you lent to me during this process because I know it kind of took me a while. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and that you got some food for thought as you move through this new year. And I hope that everything goes super well for your business and that whatever you decide with the lease thing is putting you in alignment with your highest timelines and greater manifestations in all aspects of life. And yeah, that's all. Bye.